All right, we're back here on the Chase Thomas podcast, taping this on a Tuesday afternoon. First timer, Coach Rusty Wright over there in Chattanooga, the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga Mocs. Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
Doing great, man. How about you?
I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. My fiance's father-in-law played at UTC
Really?
way back in the day. So, and not to, I apologize to Gary for the way back in the day portion of that comment, but he's a mock, so he's going to be dialed in for this. So I'm excited to talk with you about your team and where your team is going. But does it feel like you've been at UTC for as long as you already have?
Well, I've been here a couple of times, so it does
Yeah.
add up, And uh, no, I mean, this year's been completely different than the last two because
Mm.
the last however many, I can't keep it straight because it's been normal. This year's been
Yeah.
normal from start to finish, so that's been a good thing, So I don't ever look at it, I don't think about it that way. I just get
Yeah.
up every morning and go to the next one, and you try to think ahead a little bit for some things, but I just kind of go and do, and that's what we do. I don't even worry about it or pay attention to it.
So it feels normal now. You feel like y'all are all back to 100% of what it was years ago now.
Yeah, I mean, well, my first year here was not normal either. We had some
Yep.
issues and those kind of things, and then you throw COVID in the next year, and then so getting back in January this year and having a normal spring workout, then a spring practice, and now you're having a normal summer and going that way. It feels like football is supposed to feel when you're doing it for at the college level. It's like it's supposed to be.
What did you miss with losing those spring and summer workouts? How did that change how you just approached the fall football season?
Well, I mean, it changes the development of guys, and
Mm.
at our level, we don't get a lot of finished products. We're still a developmental program. I mean, we still
Mm.
have to go get guys that need to be developed and need to be grown and need to be taught things. And when you miss that, I mean, I've got some guys that are redshirt sophomores that are closer to graduating than they are finishing their eligibility. I mean,
Hmm.
they're like 2 semesters away from graduating, and they're going to have 2 years. So that's the thing is you miss that development of playing the game or of being in the weight room consistently and getting better that way. That's what, a lot of us at our level missed.
Well, how's your summer going this year? Is there just been any surprises for you? Are you pretty happy with how the program's developing and where you're at going into fall camp?
Really, really excited about how these guys have been this summer. I think we've had great workouts. This is our second year with Jerry Passetti, our strength coach, and he's done a phenomenal job with those guys from last summer to this summer and now continuing it. Just been really, really pleased how these guys work. I'm really excited to get out there and get with them because I think it's a group that's going to give us everything they've got. Whether we're good enough or not, I don't know. We'll figure that out when we go out there and play. But I know they're going to give us everything they got by watching them work in the weight room and work on the practice field and doing the running and all that stuff. And we've had a good semester last spring in the classroom. We've had a good semester so far this summer, and I am excited to go watch these guys. I really am. I'm excited to be. It makes me excited to go be around them. So I'm pumped for that.
How have you changed as a coach since the first time you took this job?
I keep learning. I learned
Mm.
a lot. That first year is kind of like a whirlwind when they tell you it's going to go quick. I mean, it does from the first game to the last game. I mean, it was fast.
Mm.
And then you throw the stuff we had in with COVID and all that stuff and trying to navigate those waters and make decisions nobody's ever made decisions for.
Mm.
Um, and then last fall, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about young people. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about, how I've got to be. And hopefully it pays off for us.
What were some examples like that? What did
I,
you?
you know, I, I put a lot of trust in some young guys that I thought had grown enough to handle it, and
Mm.
they weren't quite grown enough to handle it, and
Mm.
handle things the right way. And I've learned some things about how I've got to go about being me when it comes to I've got to continuously to be me, not worry about people's feelings or my feelings or whatever. And I kind of took a step back with some of that
Mm.
last year because of the COVID issues and us coming out of it, and having an older group and those kind of things, and then you have the transfer portal, and you worry about all this, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to go be me, and if it is what it is. So, that's the thing I did. I mean, I had to sit down at the end of the year and take a real hard look at myself and what I was doing and how I was doing things, and I feel like I've corrected some things, and that's why I'm excited about getting back out there and getting with these guys.
Has the portal affected your day to day at all, or is it just bit like you're pretty used to it now, and it's just a part of your day, part of the job?
Well, it's part of the job now. Knock on wood for us. We've not had many kids leave here. Uh, there were really good players.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some guys leave, try to go find opportunities other places because they weren't playing. I think that's probably getting ready to end for us in the next year or so.
Mm.
I think we're going to have some harder time hanging on to guys. Uh, you get a first round draft pick last year that plays his whole time here when he could have been somewhere else. That's
Mm.
pretty rare. We got two guys that probably have a really good shot at getting drafted this year that hung around. That I'm sure could have gotten paid to go somewhere else or, enticed
Right.
to go somewhere else. They hung around, and that just kind of shows you the kind of people we got in the building and the kind of kids they are, which is even better. So, but it's changed. It's changed our landscapes. We still try to be a high school based recruiting deal,
Mm-hmm.
university, but there's some strains and stresses on that too. When it comes to that, I think that's changed a little bit as well. I think kids are trying to make decisions earlier that aren't good for them. I think you need to see kids play their senior year of high school
Mm-hmm.
before taking a commitment from them. We take very few commitments here in June, July, and August. We watch them play
Huh.
as a senior,
Yeah.
um, and that's just kind of how we go about doing it. But transfer portal has changed things, and it's going to continue to change things until they figure out what they're going to do with it and how they're going to do it.
The Cole Strange stuff, and we'll get to him in a second. Those are the happy stories that people love about college football, and I really hope we don't lose that. It's one of those things too. I mean, just talking to so many different coaches and folks in this industry, it's like one of the things that I wish, and it's I think hard when you're young and when you're 18, 19, 20, making big time decisions that I mean, it's just a lot of people in your ear, and it's tough. Like it's really tough on them, but it is one of those things. You will not find an NFL evaluator who's like, if you're not good, we won't find you. If you're really good at UTC, we'll find you at UTC. If you're Antonio Brown at Central Michigan, we'll find you at Central Michigan.
Played
And
against
that
them. Yeah,
I don't like that's something that I think has been lost where it's like, oh, you got to go somewhere else to be noticed. I mean, that's not reality. That's just if you're in a good spot and you're coached really well and you trust that staff and they've developed you to that point where those other Power Five schools or whatever it is are chasing you, that means where you're at, they're doing something right. And if you stay the course there, you're still going to get drafted. You're still going to find your way. Cincinnati's, Coastal Carolinas, you can go up and down the list. It doesn't even have to be FBS. It's at
sure.
UTC. It can be FCS. It's just, I think that's something that's lost for a lot of these young kids and the people in their circle, where it's just important to stress to them. It's just like the people who are influencing these decisions. It's just that, like, hey, Cole Strange just won the first round. Find me an NFL evaluator right now who said that we do not have the resources to find kids who can be NFL players with our scouting system, with our tapes and everything else. We'll find you. Like that is not an issue. And it seems like that's not talked about enough. Is that fair?
Oh yeah, there's no question. You need to come do your recruiting spiel when you need to come do
Well,
that
I'm only an hour and a half,
when
coach. You got me. Like when you want me in the building, I'll come through. I got you.
I got you, but it is, and it's a misconception for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's no different than us going out recruiting high school kids. I mean, if you
Mm-hmm.
can play somewhere, we can go find you. I
Yep.
promise you. With all the resources we have nowadays, and we get out on the road and do that stuff. But yeah, if you can play professional football, if there's a chance you can play professional football, that league will know about you wherever you are. There's no
100%.
question. No question.
And you only could take so many McCallie guys, right? Like you can only just go right down the road. You got to go venture out a little bit sometimes. I
We
mean,
try. Yeah,
yeah,
we try.
I've heard that they might lose at some point, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're doing Ralph Potter's a former, he's an alum from here, and he does a
Yeah, he
great.
was on the pod a few months ago, and his
Yeah,
dad is the one who I believe coached my father or soon to be father-in-law
yeah.
at
So
UTC. Like the Chattanooga roots there are pretty strong.
they are, yeah, they are. They do a great job over there. They got a phenomenal program. Do a really good job.
What was your favorite part about coaching your guys last year?
Well, it's always just being with them, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
one thing people don't understand is there's nothing like being in that locker room after you win. I mean that's it's a special feeling, and truly, honestly, if you're all the way in, there's nothing like being in that locker room after you've lost.
Mm-hmm.
seeing the hurt on people's faces and seeing how much people have invested in, and those things matter to guys. And that's the biggest thing is, I only got so many more years around the sun, and I got more behind me than I got in front of me.
Well, we don't know, Coach. We don't know.
I'm good, man. I'm all right. I know that. But what I'm saying is I know those moments are special.
Yeah.
And not everybody gets to do what I do, and not besides coaching, besides being the head coach of their alma mater. That it's a special thing for me, and I don't take it for granted.
I like it. What makes your team? If I got the rest of the SoCon, I got Furman, I got the Citadel, I got everybody on your schedule, I got them on the horn, and I was like, hey, what's the most pain in the butt aspect of playing against a Rusty Wright coach team? What do you think they would say?
I think they're going to say, what you see is what you get. And that kind of drives people crazy. We kind of line up and just play defense.
Yeah.
Make people beat us. We don't do a whole lot defensively. We don't really do a whole lot offensively. We try to limit the mistakes we make in a game. And I know that's coach talk, but I mean, literally, we do very, very little defensively, and offensively, it's pretty similar. So we're not overly complicated. You line up. I mean, I'm sure half this league can draw up our defense and what we do against them without even watching film.
Mm-hmm.
And then offensively, they know we're going to hand it off to 32 and then take a shot every once in a while and go from there. So
you're kind of like Iowa of FCS in a lot of ways, right?
I hope to be. That would be awful good for a long time. I'd like to be Kirk Ferentz in Iowa for a long time here. That'd be pretty cool.
I mean, longest tenured FBS coach. I think people take guys like Kirk Ferentz for granted, of just the stability. And I mean, getting to number 2 last year, and but the reason I brought them up too is just that, like, when you watch the tape on them defensively and you see what they're doing, teams know what Iowa's going to do defensively, but you just can't do anything. They're just so fundamentally sound that they are going to be in the right gaps. They're going to be where they need to be. They know exactly what their role is, and you're just not going to phase them. And it sounds like that's kind of like what you've instilled in Chattanooga.
No, that's what we try to do. We got good players too, just like they. I mean, they got good players. You can only do so much if you only got good players. But yeah, I mean, we got good players in spots, and we try to keep things simple for them to go play fast and to go use their abilities as well as they can, and feel pretty good about that when we do. I mean, we like the matchups we get with our guys against most of the people in the league, and feel like our guys are better over there, especially up front. I think we're probably one of the better, if not the best, defensive line group in the league, and you let those guys go and just don't get in their way, and then it makes everybody behind them a little better when you're good up front.
A lot of coaches have a good feeling on how a certain week's going to go by Thursday. They've done the film work, and that's one of the funniest things I've learned as I've gotten older. Is just that, like, they're not usually surprised about how a game's going to go come Saturday afternoon or whenever it is. Did you know by Thursday that you were going to play Kentucky close? That was going to be a close back and forth, and it would be a 1-score game?
That was one I wasn't sure. I knew our guys would be excited, but the X factor in that is Kentucky.
Yeah.
You don't know how they're going to play. I thought we would play. I thought our guys would be excited, go play hard and play well. I wasn't sure how they were going to play. That was the thing. I didn't know it would be like it was. I thought we would go in there and go play and give ourselves an opportunity to win, which we did for the most part of the game. But I didn't realize, when you're watching it, you're like, I spend the first quarter basically watching the O-line and the D-line on both sides, seeing how the line of scrimmage goes. And, first couple of series is like, even though they moved the ball and we didn't really move it a whole bunch early, I was like, we'll be okay today. And I knew that. And, but when you have a team that's pretty good and then you're playing a team that's either, I had a pretty good football team last year, not a great one, but pretty good. And then you go play an SEC school, we have to play so much better, and they have to come down a little bit. So that was the X factor, and that is like, I'm not sure how they're going to play. I thought we would play pretty good, and we did for the most part to give ourselves a chance.
Absolutely. Cole Strange, will he be a star in New England? Do you have any doubt about it?
No, I mean, I think the guy's got all the tools and the work ethic to go play. I think, his biggest thing is, where does he fit? Is he a center? Is he a guard? They got David Andrews up there. He's been playing up there for a while now. Is he the right guard? Is he left guard? Do they try and make him a utility guy to get him through a game? I mean, those are all things, that they make those decisions doing. So, but I think he can play in the league for a long time. I really do.
What's his best skill?
He is a play to echo the whistle finisher, nasty guy. He will fit in perfectly up there in New England. But skill wise, I mean, he's got long arms, strong hands. He's got a set of the strongest hands I've ever been around. And he puts those on you, it's pretty much over. And just work ethic and all that. And I know that's coach cliche, but
can you teach that though?
No.
So you knew pretty early on it was like that. Is that one of the things you look for in offensive lineman that folks don't see?
Sure you do. Yeah, I mean, sure you do. But no, you can't teach some of the things Cole did because those were intrinsic. I mean, that was the way he's, just the makeup of his DNA and how he was brought up and made to be, and that's what gave himself an opportunity.
Did you know pretty early on that he was going to be a really good player? Like he walks in the building, you're like, okay, this guy's different.
Yeah, when we left here, he had come back. He had actually committed to Air Force and came back when we all left here in 16. We thought we were actually getting a really good – we didn't know if he was going to play defensive end or offensive line. I mean, he was a big, long, stringy joker at that time, and could run, would hit you, was nasty. Loved him out of high school. We loved him out of high school. Didn't know that's what his fit was going to be. It was going to be offensive line. And then when I came back after being gone for 2 years and watching him play, I'm like, this guy, all he's got to be his coach. He's going to have a really good chance to be a really good player. And he took to it. I mean, he took to coaching. He took to getting better. He took to eating right and lifting the right way and doing those things to try and give himself a chance. And good, great student, all that stuff. I mean, just took to all those things to go give himself an opportunity.
Who's the next Cole Strange on your roster right now? Do you have one?
We got a couple. McClendon Curtis is going to have an opportunity to play on Sundays. Devontae Maxwell. McClendon is going to be a guard or tackle for us. Depends on where he is. McClendon's 6'7", 325, but he's going to have an opportunity to go and do some things at the end of this year. Devontae Maxwell plays 3 technique for us. I think he's 7 or 8 sacks away from breaking the conference sack record as a 3 technique.
Man. Yeah.
So he's a very powerful, strong, great. Both those guys have already graduated. One's working on a master's, one's working on a second major. So I mean, those 2 guys are next. I think our running back Lim Ford will have a chance at some point in time. Jay Person, who's only a junior for us, is a defensive end from Bradley County, right up the road. I think he's going to have an opportunity. Ty Beck is a young man that plays linebacker for us that is a prototypical, probably outside linebacker in the NFL that'll have, I hope he gets in camp somewhere and gets himself an opportunity. So we got some guys that'll have a chance.
You're out at Chattanooga Lookouts game and some folks stop you and they're like, hey, coach, we're like, this is October, September, or whatever. And they're like, hey, this looks different than what we've seen the last couple of years from you and your team. What's up? What do you think they'll be most surprised about? What do you think they would stop you and ask you about?
Oh, me. Well, I could tell you, but then it blows a surprise for the guys.
Oh, that's an issue.
I can't do that right now, because I got something special.
So there will be something different.
There will be. Yeah.
Okay. I like it. That's it's ominous. I like it.
I'm old school, but I'm not crankety old school. I can do some things to help those guys. I like those guys to be happy. I promise you I do.
Yeah, there you go. What's the biggest position battle for you to watch for fall camp? What are you most excited about? Which position battle?
We got Cole Copeland coming back at quarterback, but we've got a transfer from Eastern Michigan, Preston Hutchinson, who I think is going to be a really good player for us. Both of them have worked their tails off since they both got here, or since Preston got here in the spring. I think safety's another one for us. We lost 2 all-conference safeties. We got a redshirt freshman and a couple older guys battling it out, back there for that spot. And then trying to figure out the other piece, we got to find one more tackle, one more offensive tackle. So seeing those guys go through that. So those are really the 3 biggest. I think we've got a good young group of wideouts I'm excited to watch go play. Defensively, we've got pretty much everybody that played a lot last year is back. So it'll be interesting to see.
Left or right tackle that you're looking for right now?
Trying to find the best 3. We'll figure out that combination of where they are. Our level, you got to have a pair and a spare. I mean, that's kind of how you.
I hadn't heard that before. I like that.
Oh, dude, man, that's old. That is old there now.
Pair and a spare.
Yeah,
I like
pair
that.
And a spare. But that's the thing. That's what we try and do, and just we're trying to figure out the best combination. We lost 3 or 4 guys up there from last year, so we're trying to find the best combination of guys and how to use people and do that. And really like the way those guys have worked to get that done.
There you go. I like it. When you look back at the Mercer Citadel games to close last year, what did you see that you're like, all right, we need to clean this up for next year? Or did those 2 games just kind of unfold the way they did, and you don't really have any qualms about what happened in those 2?
No, I mean, we were uncharacteristic in the Mercer game. We turned the ball over like 4 times. We hadn't done that all year. I mean, and they were not forced errors. They were unforced errors, really. I mean, we missed 2 field goals and an extra point, or missed a field goal and an extra point as well. Hadn't done that. I don't know if the more we played in that game that we got nervous about playing in that game. It didn't seem like it leading up that week in practice. I don't think we played particularly well at the quarterback spot during that game. We have to get better at that spot. And in the Citadel game, I'll be honest with you, I just don't think we played worth a crap. We really didn't play well offensively. I mean, we scored 21 points, but when you're playing those option teams, goal is to have 28 and keep them out. Force them to kick 1 field goal. And that would have been the winner. So, and we still had an opportunity to win it at the end of the game. We still get the ball back with 2 minutes, 40-something seconds, and have a chance to at least go tie or go win it. And I think we throw, I don't know, one of the worst balls I've ever seen in my life, interception. So, I mean, it just is what it is. But we hadn't talked about it. I mean, I just promised those guys that whatever happened, that, we were going to put that behind us and go. I know they were disappointed. I don't think we had some older guys play as well as they should have and take some things to heart and get some things done those last 2 weeks. I think they were deflated after we played Mercer, and we lost 1 game and it cost us 2 losses. And you can't do that. Good football teams don't lose 2 games in a row. They don't. Hopefully age and maturity takes care of that. And again, I learned a lot about myself and doing things last year. I don't think our age and maturity matched last year.
Do you think this is a playoff team this year?
I think we have an opportunity. I really do.
Okay.
I think we have an opportunity to be how good a football team we can be. I don't know. I think these guys are going to give themselves every opportunity to be a good football team. I really do. It's been a little different around here the last 4 or 5 months. So,
would you like to see the Ivy League finally join the FCS playoffs? Get Dartmouth in here?
I don't really care. I mean, that's that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I always thought that was strange.
They got the best gig going. They play 10 games and they're done. They don't have to worry about anything else. They start later and they get finished and they're over.
It's just weird to me. Like, Dartmouth is a good. I would like to see them in the FCS playoffs. I'd like to see how they perform. Like, I would like to see the Ivy League match up against you guys.
Usually, Princeton, Harvard, Dartmouth, they're good football teams. There's no question. They get a lot of good football players. A lot of good football players there. And I'm not sure I'd want to play them, but I don't. They're not playing, so I don't really care. They don't ever voice their concern about playing. So
it doesn't seem like it's happening anytime soon.
No, it's just 10 less teams I got to worry about going to the playoffs. So
there you go. Rusty, how do the good folks support the Mocs this summer, this fall? What can the folks in East Tennessee do to support your program?
Well, the biggest thing is in the fall is come see us at Finley Stadium. I mean, that's the thing. I think we have one of the nicest little venues at our level. Sits right there at the foot of Lookout Mountain and Signal Mountain on the other side. You're about 2 minutes away from everything in downtown Chattanooga you want to get to. Chattanooga is a great city.
Yep.
We got a university that's growing. And that's the biggest thing is show up. You can come watch us play and you can still be home and watch whoever else you want to play later on that evening in 25, 30 minutes compared to sitting in traffic for an hour and a half, 2.5 hours trying to get out of a big stadium. And it's good football. We got guys that'll play at the next level and we'll play people that way. And that's the biggest thing is just show up, be loud, and help us out. Come buy a ticket.
There you go. Are you an aquarium guy? Have you been? Do you go?
I've been a bunch, yeah. Most of the time during recruiting trips, but yeah.
So is that a thing? Kids are all in. You take them on. That's a good
we used to.
pitch?
We have before. We do it times. It's a neat place, man.
Yeah.
I was here when the first side opened, and was around for the second side. So Chattanooga's got a lot going on. It's big enough, but not too big. And we can get to. You can get to Atlanta. You can get to be in downtown Atlanta 2 hours. You can be in Birmingham 2 hours. You can be in Nashville in 2 hours. You can be in Knoxville an hour and a half. You can be at the beach in 6 hours. I mean, it's a good little spot.
Absolutely. Any summer reading recommendations? for the listener?
I read John. It's so funny. I never read like books. I never read books.
Yeah.
So, I read them online and things like
Mhm.
that. But I read John Grisham's The Reckoning.
Oh,
Beach,
oh, hold on, Coach. I got you.
good stuff.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I got you. There you go. I got
stuff.
you.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. Yeah, I love Grisham. Small
Yeah.
World. There you go. We recommend. I don't know if you guys have heard this up and coming author, John Grisham. He has this book called The Reckoning. So there's his free plug.
I got a lot of his hardbacks too, from back in the day. But I was just walking through somewhere and saw it, and I was like, I ain't read this. I'll read this. So
there you go, Rusty. This has been great. I appreciate you making the time today. Good luck this season, and we'll have to check back in again soon.
Yeah, Chase, appreciate it. You guys come see us, and tell your soon-to-be father-in-law stop in anytime he's around.
There you go. I like it. He's still got a lot of family up in Chattanooga, so we'll make it happen.
Awesome.